Wow, that is so exciting.
I cannot wait to do this.
Did you know this was a manufactured home?
I know. Sometimes I feel like I'm shooting all the puppies, right?
I know.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to tell you these things. I'm going to impress you with how on it I am.
No, they're just trying to keep that fish on the line.
Yeah.
But that fish is really a boot.
I'm a professional.
Right.
You don't just message a dentist and say, I'm coming in right now, take me.
Never bend your rules just because you're slow right then. And never do something just because you're busy and your patience is thin.
I said, I do not like to list houses, I like to sell them.
But just because they sent you a human doesn't mean they sent you a client.
Yeah.
And you have to intake them as if they were a stranger. Maybe your first question needs to be, is this client really a client? Hi y'all, welcome to Hustle Humbly.
We're Alyssa and Katie, two active realtors in the Baton Rouge market. We work for two different companies where we should be competitors, but we have chosen community over competition.
The goal of our podcast is to encourage you to find your own way in business.
So stop comparing yourself and start embracing your strengths.
Hi Alyssa.
Hey Katie.
Welcome to episode 368, How to Intake a Client.
Yes.
/boundary/client management.
Yeah, I feel like this topic will be a combination of so many really good topics.
Yes.
Treating your business like a business. Having your systems and processes in place, having boundaries, buyer and seller consultations, all the things.
Okay, great. I love it.
You really need all of these things before
These are just little reminders. Because I think we need to, the underlying theme of this is your favorite episode, Be the Boss.
Yeah.
People reach out to you to buy and sell homes. They are not realtors.
Correct.
They do not understand the process.
And I do believe with AI and the plethora of information available.
So much.
You know, the podcast is therapeutic for you and I both.
Yeah.
And we are witnessing, a reminder, we are in the trenches with y'all as working agents. And I don't know about y'all, but my last few new clients in the past few weeks have come to me in a little bit of a different state than I'm used to.
Okay.
Like normally people are like, hey, Alyssa, we're thinking about this. We don't know where to start.
You feel like they're like, we know where to start. We went to AI and we got a whole...
I'm getting emails that are like, hey, Alyssa, we need to sell our house. I talked to the chat robot and they think we could list for this. And, you know, I think that could be about right. And when can you come? And then I get an email from someone I've never met and says, hey, so-and-so referred you to me. Can you show me this house tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
And I'm like, I don't know who you are.
It's like a lot of whiplash.
Yes, a lot of whiplash. That's the perfect word for it.
You're like, I was just minding my own business.
Yeah, and then I'm like, no, I can't, actually.
It's like,
Right, and you know what's funny? I always try to be like, what would Katie say? Because you're so good, and the responses are like, wow, that's so exciting. I can't wait
what
to
a fun time.
What a fun time for you. Listen, I would, before we jump into looking at houses, I would like to talk to you a little bit, get to know you. What is your timeline? What is your process? Also, required by law. I don't know when the last time you purchased a home is, but we now have a buyer representation form that is required to be signed. I usually get that signed at the buyer consultation, where we also talk about your pre-approval letter and what you're looking for, what you need in a home. But the email response, I think, one, reminds them, hey, I'm a professional.
Right.
You don't just message a dentist and say, I'm coming in right now, take me.
Here's the problem.
It's that time of year again, prepping your database for all of your fall and holiday fun.
We're taking Build Your Own Business live weekly starting September 8th.
So instead of just working through the database course on your own, you get us live every single week working through it together.
Setting it up, sorting your people, actually using it without wanting to throw your laptop out of the window.
Real accountability, real questions answered. No cold calling, no expensive leads, no complicated CRM that you're going to abandon by October.
Just a simple system and a room full of agents doing it alongside you.
Classes start September 8th, once a week, live.
Grab your spot at hustlehumblypodcast.com/BYOB.
That's hustlehumblypodcast.com/BYOB.
See you in class, y'all.
Bye.
There's no window shopping in real estate unless you go to an open house, right?
Right.
So if I'm thinking about buying a car, I might drive by the car lot. I might, go look at some car. I just might be able to see some cars in person.
Mosey around.
Yeah, without even talking to someone. I can go on Sunday when no one's there.
No humans involved.
And I can look in the windows of the car. But that's not appropriate for a house.
No, it's not.
And so when people call you and we'd like to look at a house tomorrow, they think that's step one of the process.
I also believe that what I have noticed is that they assume, and this is where Hustle Humbly is trying to bring professionalism back. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the public assumes they can do that to us.
Yeah.
They're the boss. You're desperate because you're on commission. You need money.
Yeah.
You're not going to turn me down. I'm going to run the show.
I can run you all over.
I'm going to tell you how this is going to go.
Yeah.
And I think that from the beginning, which is why we're talking about client intake today, from the beginning, it is very important to set the tone, to take control. And in the end, it's I think they will appreciate it. Sort of like a child secretly loves discipline.
Everyone loves routine.
Routine, expectations.
Tell me the rules. I want to follow the rules.
Right. And so she was so excited to go see this house. And upon asking a few questions, come to find out they don't even fully know if they're moving here.
They were not in town.
No.
Okay.
And so it just sort of became, and that's just, y'all, that's one small example of about 6 things that have happened in the last 2 weeks that is making me go, Katie, we need to record this episode. 1, because I think it'll help our listeners. And 2, I need some podcast therapy and a reminder for myself to be like, hey, we need to remember that when new people come to you, because sometimes they come to you when you are sort of busy or, the kids aren't back in school yet or you have a lot going on and you're just really quick to respond.
Yeah.
But now the tone is thrown off.
Right. The tone is crucial because you didn't want to just pop her balloon. You wanted to gently let some of the air out.
Yes.
I know we're excited.
Yeah.
I'm not here to rain on your parade.
I'm excited too.
I want to come to the parade, but we need to schedule the parade.
Right.
It can't be tomorrow.
Correct.
We have to follow some steps. We have to build the float.
Yep.
We got to do the other stuff. Okay, so how did she respond?
She actually responded and said, hey, thank you so much for your response.
Okay.
I actually was aware of the contract.
Great.
But we are not really close to being able to talk to a lender just yet because we're not sure if I'm going to get the job I'm applying for there.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, well, I understand that you're excited about this house, but the reality is we have to make sure you can buy it.
Yeah.
It is owner occupied. It says, 24-hour notice required for appointments, pre-approved buyers. It's just a request of the person living in the home.
Yeah.
It said it in the realtor remarks.
You'll make the same request as the seller.
Katie, I actually thought to myself, I was so glad
that
this
the realtor
listing agent, it just was like a generic thing. She probably copy and paste, appointment required, pre-approved buyers,
Yeah.
But it was nice to be able to say it.
And you weren't lying.
It specifically says that.
Yeah.
And she was like, that makes sense. So she did, and here's the deal. I didn't want to lose her.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to drive. It was a good bit away.
You can't lose something you never had.
I don't even know if this is going to happen.
Great. This leads right into our number one question, which is what makes a client a client?
Right.
She's a customer, a pre-client, but she's not ready yet to actually, she's got to do her part, her legwork, her pre-work. How do you, let's just say she hadn't approached it that way. Let's just start from a plain new buyer.
Okay.
Someone calls you on the phone and says, I would like to buy a house.
Awesome.
What do you do?
The first thing I do is ask a few general questions.
Okay.
You know, what do you feel like your time frame is? I'm not trying to do a whole buyer consultation on the phone.
Right.
But I'm also trying to figure out, are you married or do you have a partner? Is there another decision maker? If there is, I'm pretty quick to say, okay, well, since I know your time frame is any time this year, how does both of your schedules look the next 2 to 3 weeks that we could meet for a buyer consultation? And we schedule something.
Okay.
And once we have something scheduled, I do want them pre-approved for that meeting if possible.
Yeah.
Because then we can talk about that while we're there together.
Yes.
Like, okay, you talked to the lender. Tell me how that went. How did you feel about the numbers they gave you? Are we going to have to be contingent on the sale of your house? What do you want that transition to look like?
Yeah.
So it is so much easier to meet in person when they have spoken to a lender. And I tell them that. I say, awesome. Okay, so we're going to meet on this day. It's 10 days away. In the meantime, do you have a lender? Do you need some recommendations? And I do like to say at that time, a local lender is always best, just for many reasons. I can go to their office if I need to. They're available. The fees are usually better than a huge bank. So a little bit of education, but giving them a little bit of homework before our meeting.
Okay, I like that. Whenever they answer, no, I don't have a lender, I have my regular buyer intake sheet that I like to use to help me guide my conversation so I don't forget anything.
Yes.
But the question that's on here after that is, may I have a preferred lender call you? And I think the phrasing is really helpful because instead of being like, hey, you got to get pre-approved, you don't have a lender, I'll give you mine, I'll just send you over the vendor list and there's 3 on there and you call. It asks their permission, but it also, when you call your lender and say, I have a new lead for you, they will make the phone call.
Yes.
Phone call will happen.
Yeah.
We're not depending now on the buyer who's like, I think I'm ready to buy, to go and make a call, because there are a lot of people out here in the world, especially in Gen Z, and maybe the end of Gen Y, like the millennials, who don't want to call.
So
They don't want to make a phone call.
it's not, before y'all ask and start emailing us, I made myself a sort of new email template.
Okay, I can't wait to hear
It wouldn't really be good for email templates because every situation is different.
Sure.
But I have started saying, listen, I have some preferred lenders. I know that it can be very overwhelming knowing what to ask and what to even look at, how to shop.
Yeah.
If you would like me to make an introduction, I can send me you and your partner's email, and I will copy y'all on an email making an introduction and asking the questions that I need.
The starters.
And I'll say, and I'll even tell them on the phone, I'll just say, hey, so-and-so, I've copied some new potential buyers on this email. This is their situation. She's interviewing for a job, not 100% sure if it's going to come through or not, but we're trying to figure out what their monthly note would look like, how much closing costs are. I understand you're going to have to take an application to answer these questions, but I just wanted to make the introduction. Please let me know if y'all need anything from me.
I love it.
And it has been golden.
Yeah.
Golden.
Because again, the lender is then going to take the ball and run with it.
100%.
It's a lot easier than just hoping that the buyer, because look, scheduling an appointment to see a house sounds fun.
Yes.
Scheduling a call, email appointment to talk to a lender about your tax returns sounds like torture.
Correct.
So this is the easiest way to avoid that problem.
Yes. To go look at a house, the brain is like, yes, let's get in the car and go right now.
I can't wait to go do
to
that.
talk about your taxes and your W-2s and do you have your Social Security
No,
and do you
thanks.
have this? They go, my brain is just going to take a minute to do that part.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about, I feel like on a recent episode you mentioned sometimes the buyer consult happens in pieces.
Yes.
Like when you started off with this person, they're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to get the job, and you send them off on their errand, and then they find out if they are or aren't, or they're having to prepare their house to close, like to sell. Maybe you've had a whole series of conversations answering a lot of the parts of the process before you actually get to the showings down the road.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle that? Or are you like, no, you'll still need to come in and we're going to have to sit? Like in some cases, I feel like it gets disjointed a little bit.
It does. It definitely can. And it's really hard to say what the exact answer is for every situation. If there is two people involved, if this is a couple, I try very hard to get us all on the same page quickly.
Yeah.
Because if I'm answering pieces with just one person, I don't even know what
they're
this
getting
other
the message. Yeah.
Yes, and then you're in a mess and you don't even realize it.
Right.
So I am pretty now when they need to buy something but also have something to sell, we have to meet.
Yeah.
We are going to meet at your house.
Okay.
Because I need to see it. You learned that the hard way recently.
Yeah.
They wanted to look at houses, and they told you on the phone their
my house is updated and it's ready. And
yeah.
they sell so fast in my neighborhood. And I knew the neighborhood. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they do sell so fast in the
So you're
neighborhood.
like, we can go look at a few, and y'all went.
They were pre-approved. I didn't skip every,
No,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I won't have to come look at your house.
Right.
And then I went to look at their house. And I was like,
Guys, we
that's
should not be looking.
You have months and months of work. And do you know, funny story, since that was months ago, now they have completely put their search on hold because they've decided of the few homes we saw that they're going to need to increase their price range to get what they want and not be such a lateral move. And they're like, we're going to just save. We're just save money. So it's going to take a long time. And I said, okay, keep preparing your house for sale. Mm-hmm. Don't stop your home prep momentum, because in a year, when you've saved another X amount of dollars, we're not going to go through this all again.
Yeah, buying and selling is like no negotiable. We have to meet at your house for a consultation. And there we talk about, look, we need to get photos done here so that when we find the house that you want and we have to be contingent, I can get it active within 24 hours.
The process has to move so fast.
Yeah.
I find lately I have some that they just are moving in with family.
Mm-hmm. More and more.
Because it's so hard to be sure how long it's going to take to sell your house. It's hard to, sell if you've got kids and dogs and all these things and prepping for showings. And a lot of people are just like, I know I'm moving. I'll get it all the way ready. We'll move in with family. We'll get this sold, and then we'll start on our home. Everybody's situation's different.
I'm having people get some Airbnbs, like sign a 6-month lease. They're like, it would just be easier for me to just get this sold before we
so
rush.
Hard to do it all at once.
And you think, oh, if I push too hard or ask too many questions and don't just run and show them the house, then, what if they find someone else? But the thing is, every single time that I have gone to a consultation, I love seeing them go, oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Oh, that's a good point. Oh, my gosh. Mm-hmm. And they leave that consultation trusting you, realizing how much better you are than the machine.
Yeah.
Now y'all know and you have rapport and y'all are all on the same page.
Yeah.
It can be tricky, like in this situation with the most recent. She wants to go see a house and, they're just staying at temporary housing, figuring out if they're getting a job. So I don't have a house to go meet them at, but I definitely need to have a phone call with both of them.
Yeah.
So, and what's funny is once I pointed out a few things, she went, I guess you're right. Because she was so, this house, right?
Adamant to see
and
it.
she was like, I guess that makes sense because I am definitely putting the cart before the horse. And then I did make some notes on the property disclosure, nothing crazy, sent them to her. She was like, this is so helpful. I have filled out my application with the lender and I'm hoping to see how this interview goes. She's like, and in the meantime, I do have about 5 or 6 other houses. I'm just going to send you the addresses if you could check them.
Yeah, okay.
So it's also like,
you're training her.
Yes. And I thought she was like gonna die if we didn't go see this house.
No.
Come to find out, she has a whole list saved.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole point is that we have to not let our emotions and reactions be affected by their emotions and reactions. We have to be the professionals that help them think clearly, make wise financial decisions.
Yeah.
Like, that is why they're hiring us.
Okay. Will you tell us the story of the buyer who reached out to you but had been reaching out to you every so often?
Yes.
For how long? Tell us the story.
I have a really sweet buyer who I met for the first time in 2018.
Okay.
He originated as a sign call.
That's 6 years.
Yeah.
No, that's 8 years.
Yes. 8 years. 8 years. I was like, no, more than 6. Yes.
8 years.
So I met him in 2018 via a sign call.
Okay.
I thought the phone call was a bit unusual, just awkward, but we met.
First time buyer?
First time buyer.
Okay.
Which he was like a little bit older than me and still living at home, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But he got pre-approved and did all the things. And, back then we didn't have the buyer rep agreement.
Yeah.
Which is also wasn't an issue for him, but he got approved and, I just had I wanted to help him.
You were like, this is great.
I want to help this guy.
Okay.
So I showed him a house and his mother came. And when I met him, I just was like, I just want to save him. I want to get him in a house.
All right.
I want to.
Love it.
So we see that house. He had a really tough budget. And I ended up just putting him on a new listings alert and would keep in touch. And he never really wanted to see anything else. Very slow moving.
Okay.
Every now and then he would email and ask about a house. And I would say, do you want to see it? And then he'd kind of disappear. And then I would say about every 18 months, he would pop back in. And I would say, hey, well, the rates are a lot different than when we last talked. So I'm going to get you back in touch with the same lender.
Yeah.
And it's funny because me and that lender were like, He's back. She's pre-approved him. She has pre-approved him probably every 18 months since 2018.
Okay.
But he has never really, and we talk, but he's never wanted to really see anything.
Okay.
So I just kind of let him go at his own pace.
You saw one house?
One house.
Okay.
But a lot of talks, a lot of communication over the years.
Sure.
Nothing time consuming.
Right. And nothing obviously consistent.
And I was always like, this is his pace.
Right. Fine.
Fine.
I'll be here when you're ready.
Correct. That's what I always told him.
That's what I always say too.
Because he would sometimes be like, I'm sorry. I'm like, it bothers me not at all. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So this year, he reaches back out. And I'm like, here he is. I text the lender. And he's like, hey, this house popped up in the thing you've sent me. And I think I want to go see it. And I said, okay, well, not a problem. Since I last showed you a home, there is now what's called a buyer representation agreement to sign before I can show you any homes. I have attached a copy of it here. Let me know if you're good, and I'll send it over to you to sign electronically before we go see this house. And I also need you to get pre-approved.
Yeah.
So he responds, well, first he does reach out to the lender. Then, and he's doing that. He's getting pre-approved. Then he says, pertaining to the buyer representation agreement, exact email words were, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is going to take me a minute to read and process.
Okay.
And I had even given a little explanation of
like a blurb.
what it was, why it's different, now we put in the purchase agreement that how the seller is paying me. It's all for transparency. I did the whole thing.
Yeah. You're like, take your time.
And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I had also put a year, 12 months on his because of this whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a good number for anybody.
Yeah.
So anywho, I said, no problem. Take all the time you want to read this. Well, 4 days later, he messages me and says, hey, I don't like that it's a year long.
Okay.
I talked to a friend of mine who has a realtor that will do a 3 or 6 month agreement. If you would be willing to do a 6-month agreement, I could deal with that. And it just made me go, Alyssa, I know you wanted to help this guy, but I don't think this is a good business decision any longer. So I sent him a very kind email and just said, look, I've been working with you since 2018. So a year is appropriate for this situation.
Right.
I don't think the issue here is the amount of time on the buyer representation agreement. I think the issue is here, you need to find an agent that you trust fully.
Yeah.
And if after all this time together, you're not feeling it, I did quote him, I put it in the quotations, I said, I don't want you to have to deal with working with me.
Yeah.
I want you to find somebody that you like, that you trust, and if that is your friend's agent,
Go for it.
go for it. But I know that I have been like guiding you and helping you since 2018.
Right.
So if you're not sure yet, I just think we've had enough of a trial run.
Yeah.
And I truly wish you the best. I want you to find a home. I want you to have home ownership. And he sent me a really nice email back just saying, thank you so much. I understand and I appreciate all the help you've given me over the years.
Okay.
I also said, and you're welcome to still work with the same lender. She has all of your stuff and has for years. So
Yeah.
like, you don't have to switch everything, you know? So that's just how we left it. And I'm actually really relieved.
Right. Right.
I went in the MLS and like deleted his search and his name and his and it just felt like the end of a chapter.
You were like, you know what? They don't all end in a closing.
And I was thinking to myself, how much do I want to push him? I don't want to push him. I want him to be ready.
Yeah. And his reaction was clearly not positive.
No.
He was not happy about signing this agreement. So it wasn't, look, every seller I've ever had to, here's my air quotes, y'all, convince that they wanted to list or convince that they needed to pay my commission has been unpleasant.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't want to work with you in the beginning, that's like the honeymoon phase. It's not going to be better. Like, yes, some people will say, oh, this went so well, but difficult people are difficult.
Yes.
They just are.
And we're not saying you can't work with difficult people.
No, you
But
can.
you better have set the tone from the beginning very early how this is going to go so you're not in a bad situation later trying to backtrack.
I think you need to know your capacity at the front end.
Yeah.
Never bend your rules just because you're slow right then. And never do something just because you're busy and your patience is thin. I mean, you just kind of have to take a breath and respond the same every time. But if you've already got a docket full of people who've been hanging around for years and are, you know, taking up a lot of your time and mental energy and emotional energy, then you can't add another.
Correct.
Like, you just don't have the capacity for that, or everyone's going to get a bad version of you, right? Okay, so what about on sellers?
Yeah.
More specifically.
Do you want to share like the PowerPoint version, anonymous version of the situation we got from one of our listeners whose sellers are now kind of, they're just unhappy? And...
Yes. I will do as quick as I can. Basically, this agent took a listing from sellers in her own neighborhood where she lives. Okay, so where she has neighbors. It is new construction. They don't live there. It has turned out that the house has, well, first of all, was appraised, and they opted to list many thousands of dollars over appraisal.
Much too high to start.
Much, much too high.
And she said she took it if they would agree to scheduled price reductions.
That was the rule. And they have made price reductions. However, it's still not the price of the pre-listing appraisal.
Not close.
Which is where she wanted to list.
Even after price reduction.
Correct. So that's how high it was. Now
Can we
it's
pause
still
the
high.
story here?
I mean, do you want me
What
to pause
mistakes are made? Like, from this get-go, neighbor calls you to sell the house. You know they have an appraisal, and they tell you they want to list 100,000 more, say.
That's not a real listing.
Right.
When people say to you, I want to leave room to negotiate, that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're truly confused, because let's just say I tell you your house is worth $300,000 and you say, well, I'd like to price it at $400,000 to leave room to negotiate. That's too much room.
Mm-hmm.
That's no one's going to come look at your house for $400,000 and make you an offer for $300,000, which you know the house to be worth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I think that we want, and look, if it were me, I would have real trouble being like, oh, someone in my neighborhood where I might get more listings, okay, you want to price it a little high. I don't think it's going to sell for, I know, like if I know in my heart of hearts it's not going to sell for that, that's not a real client. That's not a real listing.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you go into it saying, I know this will never sell, which also means it's going to be an apparent, visible failure on your part.
And I think that's such a great point, because you're saying they're in my neighborhood, I should take it, but you don't want to ruin your like, oh, she's the neighborhood realtor
your neighborhood
who couldn't sell that house.
That never sold. The sign was out there for 6 months.
It never sold.
No.
And then it got to a second agent who finally said, let's get this price right, and then the right person just comes along and it
looks
sells.
like you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because the general public doesn't take into account all the different parts.
Right.
They just take into account your sign was there a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And now someone else's sign was there a very short time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the story goes on. Basically, the sellers start making some requests of the agent, telling them to do certain things marketing-wise. And then it comes out that the seller is getting information from other neighbors who are checking up on. Okay?
So now they're all talking about you.
Now they're all talking about this agent in the neighborhood. Of course, the agent's like, I'm sure I would too. It's everyone. Everyone's talking about me.
Yeah, everyone's talking about me.
It could have just been literally this seller knew one other person and they were getting them to check up on it. But it was silly stuff about like signage and things that they could see.
Yes.
Right? So they would go report back to the seller. And they were asking me like, what do I do? Like, I don't want to lose a listing in my neighborhood. We've had remember y'all, no showings.
Not a showing.
Not a call, not a showing. Okay? And I just said, you know what? I mean, it's really up to you what you can endure. But basically, the sellers have started being not nice to her. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I'm like, I don't find that to be acceptable. Also, if you fire them, then you get to go tell your neighbors.
Yes.
It didn't work out because they were not taking my advice. They were unrealistic and overpriced. Mm-hmm. And they were also treating me poorly.
Yes, it wasn't a good business decision.
In a PR mindset, you take over the narrative, right? Yeah. But if you wait for the 3 more months of your contract that you know it's not going to sell unless they change something, and they're going to be mean to you the whole time, and they're going to ruin your reputation with your neighbors, like that's a terrible client.
Yeah.
And even if they close, the damage could be done. Mm-hmm. If you fire them, though, you get to change the whole story. Mm-hmm. So I'm not suggesting everyone go and fire their troublesome sellers. I'm just, in that particular situation, that wasn't a real client to start with.
Yeah.
It was the hope of a client. And if they could have got it at the right price listed, maybe. Even then, it might not have sold. Alyssa, I'll admit it. AI kind of intimidated me at first.
Same. And we like to keep it super simple over here, which is why we didn't want to just tell our community to go figure out AI.
We built C3 Claude classes for community so we could show them live on Zoom, screen sharing every step. And y'all, it's surprisingly easy.
We're talking prompts, skills, projects, and all the stuff that sounds confusing until someone actually walks you through it.
And by the end, you've got real estate skills built for Claude specifically by us and informed by what we teach, ready to use in your business.
No extra fee, it's already part of your community membership.
Come learn it with us instead of trying to figure it out alone.
Join the Hustle Humbly community at hustlehumblypodcast.com/membership. The times that I have been in a listing interview because look, you and I will both push a price.
Yeah.
Within a reasonable amount,
yes,
and with proper disclaimers and discussion that this is high.
Yeah.
However, I could technically fight for this value if questioned using this one sale over here.
Right.
But if it's not going well in 2 or 3 weeks, we have to adjust and then also following up with an email outlining what we discussed at that appointment. But there are times where someone on the other side of the table is going, oh, well, we're interviewing other realtors. And I have said, if they think they can get more, maybe that's your person.
Yeah.
And then it makes them go, oh, I just went on a listing appointment, and on the phone, they were like, we inherited this house and we renovated it because we want to get like more.
Okay.
It was not in good shape, and we were getting offers from investors for like nothing. So we decided to flip it ourselves, and we went all out, and we did this and we did that. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, I will show up and I'm like, you clearly like didn't phone a friend for advice on colors, type of flooring. The amount of threshold pieces they had to use in this house at every single doorway for this new flooring they put in that feels like hollow plastic. I'm like, is this the cheapest laminate you could find? I was thinking to myself, they're not going to hire me because I already know they're not going to like what I have to say.
Right. So
we go through and I'm like, this air conditioner looks okay, but the tag doesn't. How old is it? And they were like, we really don't know. And like the tag was so worn, I couldn't really read a date. And they were like, but we think it's probably a little bit newer, and we're not sure the age of the roof either. And so I'm like, okay, well, I did take a picture of the tag and I just uploaded it to AI and was like, is there anything on here that will give me a date? And it came back as 2002. And they were like, oh my gosh, that's so bad. I said, but now you know.
Yeah.
And if it comes up on inspection, we're not going to be surprised.
Right.
And I was walking around the exterior and there was so many extra wires on the outside of this house, like cable, phone jack, like so many wires just hanging. And I said, okay, I don't think any of these are in use. Y'all may want to look at removing some of these things. And then we went through like, they didn't replace the windows and they look awful because there's no blinds or anything. So I'm like, I'm not telling you to replace the windows, but these screens have to go. And I think installing blinds would really help. I gave them some, again, I was trying to prepare them. Mm-hmm. And then we sit down and we're looking at comps together on my computer. And I'm like, 330. Mm-hmm. And they're like, the agents that we interviewed before were much closer to 400, but one of them said the only thing we have to do is hang a wreath on the front door. And after walking through with you, we're really rethinking like how much we're going to get for this house and seeing the day on market of the houses in this neighborhood. Like, we don't want this house to sit for a year like so many of these old homes do.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm so sorry if I came in here and just like bursted. I
popped that balloon.
I don't want y'all to think I don't like the house.
Yeah.
I do think it's a great floor plan. It's a great location. But there are going to be things that you're going to have to do to get it sold. And they were like, that's what we needed to hear. So it's just like, they want you to know. Mm-hmm. They want to know the truth.
Did you get the listing?
They're deciding. But they keep calling me, so I think so. But
I hope.
I know.
Or they're just getting all your free info before they...
And you know, this was one that I did treat a little bit differently.
Okay.
Where I was, because I knew they needed to know my feelings about the house.
Yeah.
So usually I'm not going around giving a full consultation.
Right.
In this situation, because I knew what they thought of the house on the phone.
Yeah.
And I did praise what they did right. And like, I just kept saying, I hate to like say this, but buyers are really hard on the primary bathrooms.
Yeah.
And y'all renovated the guest bathroom, but not the primary bathroom. So
was
like,
weird.
they just thought it was neutral enough, but it was nasty. So
Oh my word.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I was telling them what I thought because I didn't want them to choose me.
Yeah.
And like, if you're going to hire me, you need to know that I knew they were interviewing multiple agents, which is why I was like, this is what you would have to do if you want to work with me.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do those things, I told them, I said, I know you have other options. But I said, I do not like to list houses. I like to sell them.
Great.
So that's what it would take to work with me.
Yeah.
And I know it's more work than working with somebody else.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
But we'll get to the result.
Correct. And they were just really appreciative. And the person who gave them my name called me like immediately after and said, oh my gosh, they just called me and said you were awesome. And I said,
Great.
Really? Because I feel like I just rained on their parade.
For sure.
But yeah, so it's like, I could have just gone in and been like, oh my gosh.
Tell them what they want to hear.
I'm so nervous because they're interviewing other agents and I just have to have my sign in a yard. But also I think I was so disappointed when I pulled up because of what he had told me on the phone. I just couldn't hold back. I was just like, listen, you did some nice things, but there's just, for what you were thinking you were going to get. And we pulled up comps that sold for what they thought they were going to get. And we scrolled through photos together and the wife kept going, wow, look at these houses.
Right.
Like, they didn't just paint and do floor. They knocked down walls and like renovated cabinets. They didn't paint old cabinets. They renovated, you know?
Yeah.
So they saw with their own eyes.
Yeah.
And then I showed them the ones that were selling for $330, and her exact words was like, "This one looks just like ours." And I was like, and it was on the market 78 days. So, and we looked at history together. I said, "Well, look, they sold for $335. Let's look at the history." Okay, they started off at $365. 2 weeks later, they went to $355. 2 weeks later, they went to $350. A week later, they went to $349.9.
Oh, they were kidding.
They were. And then they finally got to this price point and they sold.
Quickly.
They went pending the same week. I said, listen, I'm not here to give you my opinion.
Right.
I'm here to show you the data.
Yeah.
So that you and I can agree on what this house is worth. And she was like, I can't unsee it, is what she said. I can't unsee it.
Well, yeah. But no one else is going to not everyone is going to show you the truth.
And so this is one where if they call me to list it, I guess I'll be happy.
Okay.
But I'm not like...
You're not expecting anything.
I'm not expecting it. If they list it with somebody else, I'm not going to be... I would be a little surprised, but I'm not going to be disappointed because I think it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, even at the right price.
Even at the right price, I think there's a lot of things that are going to have to be overcome. Yeah. And I'm willing to do it. If they choose me, I'm your girl. I'm going to go in, we're going to get this done, but I know it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Right.
But so either way, this is just a unique one where...
Very.
And I like knowing ahead of time you are competing.
Yeah, that is nice. You don't always know.
I'm not over attached.
We won't go back to the episode we just had of how you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find out later. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
But, they thought they were going to be ready for photos. And so they were like, can you come? We're ready to list. And it's like, hold on. I need to come.
The process is.
Yes. This is how this works. Here's the process.
Yeah. You have to follow your process.
Mm-hmm.
And as a side note, especially with buyers, you have to follow your process exactly the same every time as a matter of fair housing.
Yeah.
You can't sometimes do a consult, sometimes not do a consult, sometimes be really forceful about pre-approval, sometimes just take their word for it. sometimes get your BBA signed, sometimes wait until, you've seen a house or two and get it. It's like, you must do it the same every single way as if you aren't your own boss.
Mm-hmm.
As if you have someone looking over your shoulder or checking your work at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to do it the same every time. And that also solves a lot of problems. For instance, I had at closing, they were like, oh, a wire transfer issue. That was almost an issue. Like someone had faked my email and sent it. Oh, yeah. This has been a couple of years. And I was like, well, tell me what the email said. I'm like, that's 100% not me, because every single email I sign off almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's so clear. Or like if you are worried about, legal issues, being sued, if you do your process the same every single time, you can eliminate that stress. Be like, I know I told you how the BBA works. I know I told you, like I cut and paste the same wording every time I send the document to sign.
Every buyer gets the buyer rules.
It's always the same.
Yeah.
Can you tell me before I don't know if we're ready to wrap up, but when you intake a seller and a buyer, I assume that you ask them where they came from.
Always.
Always. If you don't ask them where they came from, you can't really track your business. In the case of either seller or buyer, when they come as a referral from another agent, do you feel like you put up with more?
Sometimes, yes.
And how do you feel about that? Like, I feel like sometimes you get stuck in a bad situation because now you've got two people you're worried about their feelings, your reputation, how they perceive you, future business.
Correct. I actually just went through this.
Okay.
I don't know if that's why you're asking.
I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to talk about this angle.
Yeah, I just had a referral from a delightful agent who has sent me other referrals.
Okay.
So that's a big piece of it too.
Yeah.
And I thought this will be easy. Will be, it's cookie cutter. I've sold 1 million in here. This is going to be no problem. I went on the listing interview. It was precious. Everything is good. Everything in this townhome complex was selling for 210, 212, 215, 210, 212, 215. They're all the same. And everything went well at the interview. I showed comps. And then the email is like, Alyssa, we would like to list at 235. And I just went, but that's not what the data says at all, and it's not what we discussed. And she said, well, we will reduce. And normally I would have just said,
no.
But because of where they came from, and she had let me know these were clients of hers that she has sold investment property with. So I'm like, they're not new to a real estate transaction. So I'm just going to, if they say they're going to reduce,
You took their word.
So we list. And surprisingly, people were showing it. I thought,
you were like, okay.
I thought we're not going to have any showings. And I got 5 offers for 210, 212, 208, 205, 210, 215, 214, 213.
All while it's at 235 listed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was actually really surprised.
You're like pleasantly surprised to get an offer.
Yeah, and I just kept delivering them, and they just kept saying no. And so it got to the point where agents were getting upset with me. So I thought, I have to let these people go.
Yeah.
And I called the referring agent.
Okay.
I said, I hate calling when someone has sent me a gift.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to handle the situation.
Yeah.
And I think I needed to make you aware because I didn't want word to get back to you on how I handled it. I said, these were the comps. This was the discussion. We have turned down 5 really good offers.
What did the referring agent say?
She went, oh my gosh, really? I said, yes. I said, at this point, I have really well-known, respected agents in the industry upset with me.
Yeah, because I'm not taking offers that are at market value.
I can't even get them to counter. And she said, oh, well, I said, have you ever helped them sell anything? And she said, no, but they bought a ton with me. I said, okay, well, it's not going well. And I have communicated so many times, but I'm at the point, I said, honestly, because they were yours, I really just wanted to
make it work.
To make it work, but I'm going to have to say something. So I did. I said, we have got to reduce this price, or I don't think I'm going to be able to help you. We have turned down market value cash offers. Like, we are never going to get what you're wanting. And they actually agreed to drop it to $219, which I'm like, that's in the ballpark. I mean,
Still too high.
yeah, still too high. But don't you know, within, like, me telling them I can't help you made them go, I thought I was about to go get my sign and lockbox.
Yeah, and you're like, I'll pick it up.
Yeah, and that's when they went, oh, well, okay. And they agreed. I'm like, why do we have to get to this point?
Yeah, why?
It's like when you ask your kids nicely 5 times to put on their shoes, and then you're like, put on your shoes! And then they're like, you're so mean. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
but
I asked
tried
nicely.
so
I asked nicely the first 5 times.
Didn't listen.
And we just closed.
For how much?
$215. We turned down offers of $215. We turned down cash offers of $215. And the one we took was a mortgage. And we even had, they don't know because I just handled it, but like the appraiser was even having an issue with something with the HOA and making something fit in a box on the appraisal. And I'm like, if we would have taken this cash offer, I wouldn't even have to do this.
Yes.
I had offers that waived all this 2 months ago.
What would you do differently next time?
That is tricky. I would have, now that I know how it played out and we closed, I guess I did the best I could. But I think I would have said, if you want to list at $235, I don't know that I can help you.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Right. You would allowed a $219 from the beginning.
I would have maybe even allowed like a $220, $222.
Right.
But not where we were.
It was so
It made me
unreal.
look silly.
It made you look silly.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
I had a guy email me and say, hey, Alyssa, I don't have a realtor, but I own like 8 townhomes in this complex. And I've been keeping my eye on yours because I really like it. It seems in really great shape, but it's so high. Can you help me understand?
And you're like, no. I have a very unrealistic seller. And then you look like you don't know how to control your client.
Exactly. So the whole thing was becoming problematic. I had one really sweet agent who her client made like 3 offers on it.
Oh.
They kept coming back and we would just reject them. No, I couldn't even get them to counter. And then they would be gone for like a week and then they would come back and she'd make a new offer. And I kept like keeping in touch with her. And I messaged her and said, hey, we're going to be reducing to $219. I haven't heard from y'all in a minute. Did y'all end up finding something? And she sent back, they ended up just finding a place to rent for their daughter. And then she put all these crying faces. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm just sorry that I'm associated. So it's like, I should have not allowed I guess that's what I would do. By allowing the $235, I really hurt myself from the beginning. And I should have just said, I should have called the other agent and said, listen, this is where we're at. And I'm so sorry, but like, if you want to refer them to someone else, what would I have said?
Yeah, that's such a great question and point. I have had in the past referrals from other agents. Many. Probably not as many as you. You get them a lot. But I have had plenty. And I have had the client come to me and then I'm like, I do my intake and I'm like, you can't buy. You can't sell. You don't have realistic wants and needs.
It's not.
But the referring agent all they have to hear is the whisper of, oh, I need an agent in Baton Rouge. And they're like, let me give you someone good. They don't even know the situation. So I think that in some referring agents are going to like check up and check up and check up and be like, what happened with so-and-so? And I'll be like, so-and-so can't buy a house.
Right.
So-and-so was never going to be able to buy a house. Thank you so much for the referral. But
Thank you for thinking of me.
Or so-and-so is working on a 3-year-long credit issue.
Yeah.
You know, like they'll be done.
But I'll check in
back.
with them. Yeah, I'll keep checking in.
And I think that it's really unfair for us to feel stuck with those people because they were referred. Or even if they were, even worse, if they're referred from someone in your sphere or, you know, like a friend or family. You want to do a good job for them because you want them to keep sending you referrals. But just because they sent you a human doesn't mean they sent you a client.
Yeah.
And you have to intake them as if they were a stranger. But then you have to add the layer of, I got to go back to that person and be like, hey, thank you so much. I hope that this won't, you know, sway you from sending other clients. But we weren't able to work together. And maybe you can't say much, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can't be sharing people's business, but it didn't work out. Or in your case, you could have been like, look, I have done my best to relay the data. And I just feel like this is not, we're not talking the same language. Like they're not hearing me. And I understand if you want to refer them to another agency, you can still get your referral fee.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to let them go.
Right. Yes.
So then you could have just been like, I'll loop you into the email. You could even tell me who you want to refer them to. Like on the back end, like, or if you think it's better for you to tell directly to the seller so that, because they're going to be mad at me.
Yeah.
Like if you want me to not be involved in the re-referral.
Right.
I mean, look, in my opinion, if someone sends you a referral, you want to make it work, but it's also a gift for them. They don't.
Right.
They could have sent it to someone else. I agree, but.
And look, we closed. We got it done.
Good for you.
I would be feeling differently, obviously. I would have had to I was at the point where I was going to let them go, which is when they reduced and then they accepted.
I know. And look, it's so crazy because I've had clients recently with the same sort of thing. When I finally got to the point where I was like, I'm not going to take this listing. You're not listening. This is what you have to do to prepare. Like, if you won't do it, I can't list it. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, fine. And they do everything and more.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is annoying. I wish I could give that level of, I'm going to walk away to new agents. But, you know, you kind of just endure because you're like, I don't have a lot of business.
It comes with time.
It really does.
And I've taken some that are difficult. And here's the thing. I can handle difficult.
Yeah.
I can handle tricky situations. This one was getting messy because the other agents were getting upset with me, which is when I knew I had to call her.
Well, very similar to our
when
friend.
I called her, she was great.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm so sorry. I said, I don't want you to be sorry. I don't want to make you feel bad.
No,
like nothing is worse than when you refer your floor guy to someone and then the client's like, your floor guy was awful.
Yeah.
They left my house a mess. And then you're like, I'm so sorry.
Right. But it's like, you didn't do that.
Right. So it's like, she was so great. And after closing, I actually messaged her and was like, thank you for getting me through this. And then I put like a laughing face. Like, you let me vent and talk it through. And that's what allowed me to let them know, hey, if we don't reduce the price, I can't help you.
Yeah, because you removed the level of fear that was, what will this agent, how will they respond? What will they think?
My level of fear was not losing the client.
No.
I did not want to disappoint this agent who I respect so much.
Yeah.
So once I looped her in just to let her know, and she was checking in, like, so it's not like I out of sight, out of mind. Like, I wanted to let her know.
Yeah.
And once I did that, we got it done. I wish I would have done that sooner too, perhaps.
Yeah.
I wish I would have reached out to her sooner.
Yeah, I think so. From the beginning.
Yeah.
And just been like, hey.
I did let her know from the beginning.
That you were listing too high?
Yes. I said, I just want to show you the comps. Like, once we were active, I was like, look at us. Look at us right there. That's us. She was like, oh my, you know.
Oh my, yeah.
And so she knew from the beginning, but I should have reached out sooner after so many rejected offers.
Yeah, because in some cases, their relationship may have been good enough that person could have talked some sense into them.
I know.
You know?
But, you know, she gave me some good verbiage.
She did?
She did. And I was like, oh, that's a good point.
That's helpful.
Like, at one of the situations, they were like, barking back at the buyer's fee being in the contract.
Yeah.
Well, we're not paying the buyer's fee. And I went, oh no.
No.
I'm like, this was in every net sheet we went over.
Yeah.
This was in every offer we've gotten has had this. Everything. And so she was like, why don't you tell them? Remember when you bought houses with so-and-so?
Oh.
You never paid her, did you?
Right.
And I used it. And they were like, you're right, we didn't.
Oh, thank God.
And I was like, that worked. Thank
That
you.
worked.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
So she definitely helped me. Like, I wish I would have reached out sooner.
Yeah.
That's what I would do different.
That's true. Okay, there are a few episodes that will deeper dive into the intake. 210 is buyer consultation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the, getting your buyer, intake, doing your buyer consult, deep dive. 143 is working with sellers pre-listing. So that's your intake all the way through the listing.
Mm-hmm.
And then 79 is buyers.
How to work with buyers,
How to
all
work
the
with
things.
the buyers. And it goes through the intake again. We have, obviously, client management episodes and boundaries episodes plenty. But this was more about maybe it's just time to take stock, especially with the recent episode we did on, checking yourself, holding yourself accountable. Maybe now it's time to remember your rules, see where maybe you're letting them slide too much.
And why?
And why.
Why are you letting them slide? What's
Right.
Are you impressing the client with your professionalism and your knowledge and giving them things to think about that they haven't thought about?
Yeah. And really just reframing your mindset about just because someone called you and said they wanted to look at a house does not mean that person is ever going to buy a house.
Right.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
So we look at it as something that we've lost if it doesn't work out. And it might not have ever even been anything.
Right.
I know. It's just really tough to let them go sometimes.
Yeah. And you want to help people, but there's a way. There's a right way.
They can't buy a house without a loan. Like, if you
No.
won't get pre-approved, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
I don't know what the plan is.
What do we do?
I feel like on my intake, it is, will you be paying cash for this? Will you be paying cash for this purchase, or do you need to get financing?
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, I don't have cash.
Right. So tell me how you're going to buy the house.
I had a good friend, old friend, message me an address. Haven't talked to this person in a long time. Message me an address. Hey, I want to make a full price offer on this house. And I was just like, okay, hold on. Whiplash, hold on, please. I pull it up and I'm like, it's 6.5 acres, but it is a manufactured home. So I said, hey, no problem. How are you going to pay for it? Are you going to be getting a loan? Did you realize this is a manufactured home and that you will have to have a specialized lender that will lend money on a manufactured home? Oh, well, no, I thought maybe I could just get a land loan. I said, well, land loans don't allow there to be a structure on the property. So we would have to find a lender that was okay giving you financing for a manufactured home on acreage. And we just need to make sure you're comfortable with that interest rate and that down payment. And he goes, I guess I have some homework to do.
You do.
And it's been a week since I said that.
Oh, this is a recent story.
Yes. That's why my brain is cuckoo right now.
He's on the homework.
Maybe he's like, I don't actually want it that bad. That's the thing. They get excited.
Yeah, I do want to do this.
Yeah.
But as I said before, if there was a better way to window shop a house.
Right.
But you got to get a whole professional involved to open the door. Like, what if every time you wanted to buy a new couch and sit on couches, you had to hire a specific furniture salesman?
That would be awful.
You'd be like, I'm not even sure if I want to buy a couch. I just wanted to sit on some and see if I liked them better than my current couch.
Right. Which is what open houses are for.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Be like, have you gone to any open houses yet?
Right.
Maybe that'll scratch the itch for you.
Right.
Because if you're not ready to go talk to a lender, then you need to just maybe go to some open houses. Or go scroll online.
Yeah.
I know. And bless them. I love when they get excited. I love that buyers are starting to actually be like, we're going to try this. We're going to do it. But they don't know. And we have to have the ultimate patience.
Yes.
And the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be like, oh, I'll do it. You're so excited.
Right. Then what?
Then
what? I try to think that all the time. What if I was like, okay, I'll send you over the purchase agreement to sign. He didn't want to go see it.
Oh my God, embarrassing.
He did not want to go see it.
You would have.
He wanted me to write the offer on a house.
Yeah, you didn't even need a BBA.
No.
You were just, this is a first contact.
Right.
Look, there are agents out there that
would
do
have done that. That would have done
would
that.
have done it. Sure, I'll get it started right now.
Yeah, on it.
How much do you want to
I'm
put?
going to impress you with how on it I am.
No, they're just trying to keep that fish on the line.
Yeah.
But that fish is really a boot.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're just like, oh, we'll keep this fish on the line.
Yeah.
I'm going to reel this one in. I'm going to get this one done.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Not good.
So maybe your first question needs to be, is this client really a client?
Yeah. Where are we? There's a process. Where are we in the process?
Correct. Are you going to do a toast?
I have a toast.
I can't wait.
I like this one.
Okay.
I think this is from a non-realtor.
I think so too.
Okay. Hello, I would love to raise a toast to my mom, April Guerra. She's a realtor in the Austin and San Antonio areas, and she's also the president-elect of the Women's Council of Realtors Austin.
Look at April.
I've watched her work hard to build a business that's rooted in integrity, kindness, and putting people first. She genuinely loves helping others. She's always looking for ways to educate and serve her clients, not just close a transaction. She has taught me that success is about doing the right thing, treating people well, and never giving up on your goals. So here's my toast to my mom. May every family you help feel cared for. May your relationships continue to grow. And may everyone who has the chance to work with you see what I have always known, that they are in great hands. Cheers. Love, Allison.
Allison, that was really sweet.
That was so
Her mom is so
sweet.
lucky to have her.
And this was like the perfect toast for this episode.
Yes.
Because I don't want y'all to think that laying down the law, having processes, having systems means you're not kind.
No.
Like, channel your inner Katie
Be nice when you tell them the rules.
and be like, wow, that is so exciting.
I cannot wait to do
Did you
this.
know this was a manufactured home?
I know. Sometimes I feel like I'm shooting all the puppies. Right?
I know.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to tell you these things, but if you do it the right way, they are so thankful.
Well, yes. Because you don't want, here's my other thing. I don't want to get people's hopes up.
Right.
If I just run out and show you the house and you've never talked to the lender and you don't know anything about the process,
Now that's mean.
that's mean.
Now I love it
What
and
if they
can't
love
have it.
it?
Yeah,
What if they love it? What if they want it?
I know.
No, that's not kind. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here today.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wait, before you go, if you enjoyed this episode and if we brought you value, take a minute to rate the show, leave a review, or drop a comment.
We are giving away our best stuff for free. Find it at hustlehumblypodcast.com/freebies.
We'd also love to see you in Hustle Humbly community. Join us there at hustlehumblypodcast.com/membership.
We love chatting with you in our DMs. Find us on social media at Hustle Humbly Podcast and say hello.
If you have an episode topic or someone you'd like to toast on the show, please email us at teen@hustlehumblypodcast.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly Podcast. See you next week.